Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the interwebs and the galactic world. Bob back out here again in the shop for Midnight Run Creations, just doing a bit of a update on what's going on. So I got my man John handling the camera, and he's going to take you around the shop and tell you what's going on. So we'll start here where I'm hanging out, sitting, keeping track of him. Take it away, John. Hey guys, so we are back at it, as Bob said, here in the shop and working on the stunt truck. Getting worked on it, so cab is all set. Got the steering linkage all hooked up from the Crown Vic to the truck because we use the truck steering in pretty much all the builds now, unless customers are going to want cruise and stuff like that. So, but this one, we got the truck column in there. Got the brake booster, so this is the factory power brake bracket that this truck came with. It is a factory style truck booster with the Crown Vic master cylinder screwed up to it. So, and the lines and stuff all together there, running in the ABS system and stuff. So yeah, so that part's all together and it steers. Of course, suspension stuff is all done on it as far as we're going. Got the interior stuff done, so we are working on wiring. Because with the Crown Vic swaps, when you think you're done with wiring, you're wrong, because there's more wiring to do. Because that's the best part of a Crown Vic F100 swap. Well, actually, like, I think it's any kind of swap, really, and especially Crown Vic ones, because, again, we just have tons and tons and tons of wiring and stuff. Don't we, Bob? That's for sure, John. So we're thinning out some wiring. That over there, this little bit that's left, I've showed it before in videos. This is really all that is left over for what goes in the body side of it to get it to run. This is what runs to the fuel pump and stuff over here, and plugs in, and then the ignition and the dash type of stuff with it too. But you know, there's very little here when you're stripping everything out with it. So this does have the drive-by-wire pedal, so that's in here as well too. But yeah, I mean, it was a massive harness. I mean, bigger than that, but it was thin down to that. So, and this over here, this is the engine bay side. So all of this mess here, as well as a bunch that's in the box over there. This is just the final stuff. I mean, you saw in the earlier videos when I first started thinning this stuff down, what a conglomeration of mess it was. This is the last little bit. And then there's still stuff to do, because as you can see, this is the wiring loom that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. But yeah, so as you can see, this is way too long. So we're going to have to take, I kid you not, it's like 3 feet, 2 feet, something like that. It's something stupid out of the front of this. So, because it's, you know, normally it comes around across here through everything in the front of the Crown Vic and up into the fender well and all that kind of stuff. So we're going a lot shorter with this one. I'm not sure yet on this one if we're going to run across the core support here or if we'll run it across. A couple times I have actually ran them back across the back side of the firewall and stuff onto it, so we'll see what we got going on there. And really, there's nothing to touch on the engine itself. This stuff is all laid where it needs to go. It's good to go. I mean, I suppose if a person really wanted to get all gung-ho, then you could get to it and pull it all off and strip it down and I guess hide it better and stuff. But I mean, you really can't beat how Ford ran this in there, honestly. I mean, the fuel rails system, everything drops down. It's all ran really nicely for what it is. But yeah, so it's cool stuff. Speaking of this kind of reminds me, we're toying, just as kind of a teaser here, trying to figure out how to make an adapter for that throttle body, I think is what it's called, so that it actually can face forward. Obviously it'll have to be raised up too, because if you just spin it, then you're going to be hitting the top of the alternator and stuff onto it, and like the throttle and stuff all hit. But we're trying to figure out a spacer system and stuff. I've got somebody working on it helping me, so we can try and face that forward like the LS motors do. It's beautiful, because then like right here, the way it faces that way, it rams into the master cylinder and stuff onto it. This is a lot better. It sticks out way farther with the Crown Vic booster that's on there, plus the booster is a lot bigger and stuff, so, and it shoves it kind of over more, so that's better. You can take them and flip them around and face them this way, which I guess is better, because then you're coming this direction over here where the battery and stuff is. So we might do that with this one, just to kind of get it over there away from it. I try and see how it works out with it. So I have yet to flip one, honestly. I'm just trying to think of front facing would be just really nice and clean. You could come, wire it off and come up over top with fresh air, or just have filter. It'd just be really, really nice to have that instead of it being at every angle. It's really, I don't know, it's stupid. I don't understand it. The LS motor is way nicer. Anyway, but that's just me, because I'm, as you guys know, a GM guy at heart. So yeah, so we got going on with the Stunt Truck. So yeah. All right, where to next, Bob? Take him over to the blue truck. Okay, we're going over to the blue truck. So blue truck has been dug out too, because we got the 65, the white truck, all out of here and done and stuff. So with blue truck, waiting on fuel system from Andrew Peterson and some other key components, some more wiring that we need. Got the main Holley harness for the engine, but we need some other wiring too that we ended up needing stuff on it. So started moving to, as you can see, putting the front clip on. And I don't know, does it help? I don't know if I turn it sideways, then it's going to be sideways in the thing. So anyway, here it is. So this is a good illustration of my cab mounts, what they do. The front and rear cab mounts that we have set up do this. They put the front tire in the front of the wheel well. Now, as I've said before, the adverse of that is radiator and everything has to be moved back, because we chop off, I'll give you a little trade secret here, but the frame, the Crown Vic chassis, or frame, I guess, the Crown Vic frame gets gets chopped just ahead of that, oops, there's my finger, sorry, that first hole on the frame there with it. I mean, go further if you want to with it, but that's all we end up needing to. So yeah, so you chop that off, and then you have to create a bracket for the radiator stuff to sit on, so that puts it right here where it needs to be, and you can play with your height and stuff on it if you want to keep it down, below the frame rails where it was before with the mount, so the radiator sits down. The only problem with that is if you put the radiator assembly back where it was, it will actually stick way down under the front clip, under the valance there on it. Now that does get hidden by the bumper. The bumper does sit there, but that's kind of the way we've looked at it is, one, that puts that stuff really low, so road debris and things like that can pop up. The Crown Vics have a kind of a flap and shield and stuff, so you could do that if you wanted to with it. But the other thing is that you're blocking off a bunch of the radiator with the bumper as well too. That's one thing I said, is it is protected because the bumper comes across there, but it also means you're blocking some of it. So it's just easier to bring it up here and fit it in the opening and stuff. I will do as a side note that we found out with one of the trucks with Cowboy Rick's truck is if you go too high, let's see. Here we are. So if you go too high, as you can see, this top radiator hose kicks up. There we go. That's better. Quite a bit. I mean, that angle's way up in the air. So if you go too high on this, if you got the radiator assembly and stuff up too high, that's coming. Obviously, if you go up way too high, then your hood's going to hit it when it comes down and stuff with it. What we ran into with Cowboy Rick's truck is it snapped off. Now, admittedly, we don't know if it was something else. I mean, age, who knows, this stuff get old, but I mean, that point's way up, the hose goes blah, and then has to curve back down. So you're not allowing great water flow. You could get hot, that's plastic up there. So his did crack. It didn't, burst and bust completely off. I don't think. I think it just cracked and stuff on it. So, I mean, that stress on that neck is one thing to think about with it. So you kind of put it midway. We actually cut over here to the left-hand side. As you can see, there is a difference in the opening. So it's all right. It's not blocking a ton of it, but we'll cut that open as well too to allow better airflow. Obviously, we want as much airflow as we possibly can. And then we'll stick the transmission cooler and oil cooler and all that kind of stuff. The condenser will all be stuck back there. So as you can see, there's plenty of room for that stuff to sit in front of the radiator, because the radiator doesn't actually sit all the way up against here. It can't fit in between these openings here. If you start looking at alternatives, I guess, for the radiator, something that fits in there a lot better. I've seen some of the guys use the truck one, so that's a next step in advance. We're always advancing our builds, even though I've done like a dozen of these, and we've got like 5 or 6 of them going right now. We're always kind of changing things, always bettering things. It's how you do things. You evolve or die, as a trainer once told me. So I had to do a patch panel here, as you can see, because of course it's the battery tray and it rots away and stuff. So yeah, so that's what we're working on. Got the mounts all in. This does have to come back off so we can really get that stuff welded in and fit in, and then we'll put that in, start piping, plumbing things back in and stuff on it, and get the wiring and stuff done with it. Otherwise, that's it with it. Did some more wiring stuff on the inside and whatnot. As you can see, there's a mess of wires. There's always a mess of wires. We have a massive tub over on the other side of wires and stuff. So, alrighty. So what do you think, Bob? Where to next? Well, I guess the only thing left next is the only other truck we have, right? That's true. The only other truck we have. I sound like I'm a crazy person talking to myself, huh? But Bob's been helping us out. So the other one we have that we're rocking and rolling on is the shop truck, the 50 Dodge. So yeah, cab is where it needs to be with it. This is like incredibly cool. I think I said it before in the videos. I was debating using the S10 chassis or using this chassis, because a lot of guys will, with the 50s vehicles, use the S10 chassis, which admittedly is probably going to be a whole lot easier because it's a narrower chassis, and there's companies that make everything to weld and bolt to the S10 chassis so that it'll support these cabs and all that kind of stuff, because there's things I'm gonna have to fab, like the running board mounts and all that kind of fun stuff with it. So, but yeah, so this is a 1950s something, I think 51, 52, somewhere around there, 50 Dodge Pilot House is what it's called. So it's got the cool 5-window and stuff to it and side glass. So cool little truck. So we've done quite a bit of work to this thing. It's kind of dark in here, so I'm gonna go see, but because of where, I guess we'll walk over here, because of how the engine sits and everything in there for it, which it's quite a way. It's not as far as I thought it was going to. It's still accessible and everything, but it does sit in there. Trans sticks up, drive shaft sticks up, because we've in essence body dropped the cab over the Crown Vic chassis, which is pretty cool. Honestly, this is sick, and I'll probably show some videos when I get this pulled to do some other stuff. But right in, well, let's see, right in here, actually, so I'll use my foot. So right in this area here, I actually had to cut this front face of the Crown Vic frame off in order for the cab to sweep down, because this cab actually tapers forward on these old, I don't know if all the old trucks do this, but at least these Dodges do. The cab tapers forward, so it actually started to cut into the frame. Because back here, it's good, but it, is the straight length, but this cab goes and dubs in because the frame on this thing sits clear back in on it. So yeah, so we had to do that. Had to build a lot of the firewall and the floor, the trans tunnel, all that kind of stuff with it. So we'll still have to do some modifying, because we'll have the selector and stuff on it, go with automatic. So what we were going with, so yeah, anyway, we'll do this. And did some rust conversion. So this is really cool. It's a product that I can now get a hold of called Rust Doctor. It's a 2-part deal. You use their cleaning solution and clean the gunk stuff off where the rust areas, because this was nasty. I don't know if I had a picture or did a video of this truck or not before, but I mean, you can see 50s truck. This was nasty, and nasty enough that it was all pitted and whatnot. So even if you took a wire brush or a grinding wheel and stuff to it, it's still going to be all, it's just hard to get to, and you paint over it and stuff. So what this does is you clean it and then you put it on there, and that's what this purple color is all the rust stuff. So it actually converts it. It's not and it doesn't encapsulate it or just coat it. It actually converts the rust and then puts a primer type material that's just, you can go straight to paint with it and stuff. So it's kind of cool. Even this area is like the floor, the center section, really cool. It kind of brought out that patina and stuff on it, so kind of neat. So I don't know what we're gonna do in here, if we're gonna just leave this patina or if we're gonna spray it and redo it and stuff. So let's figure out game. But I mean, it's a 50s truck, so everything's got to go custom. We have to have a new standalone wiring harness for the body, wiring harness for the engine system, gauges and stuff onto it, the AC stuff, glass stuff. It's an old truck, but it's gonna be wicked. It's gonna be cool. So this will be a lot of fun. Haven't figured out a name for this thing yet, but old patina truck, so it's kind of cool. It's actually, if you go to this side, it's an old farm vehicle, so it's pretty cool. In fact, the tailgate has on the back of it, do not follow too close, so that'd be kind of fun to leave that on there, because this thing is gonna rip. So That's why I want to use the Crown Vic chassis. I could have used the S10. Probably would have been, well, I know it would have been easier to just put the whole truck on there, especially the bed. I mean, the bed is just, it's going to be, yeah, it'll be interesting to do the bed because of the wheelbase and stuff on this. So the S10 would have been easier for that. Same with up here too. It would have been easier. We wouldn't have had to do this flaring over here because the Crown Vic wheelbase is so much wider that I had to add like 3 inches flare the fender out and stuff on it. So we'll get a better look at that when we put that front clip on. But yeah, so we had to do that. Also because the wheels were running, so we're rocking Mustang. I don't know if these are called the track pack wheels or not. But yeah, and they're pretty conservative as far as the tire combo stuff on it. They're only 19s, and they're like a 275, I think, or something like that with it. So not crazy. I don't remember there. I don't know. We'll have to look. It's not a big deal. But okay. So yeah, and the powertrain is going to be sticking with the automatic. So I got a 4L65E transmission, and then this is just the mock-up motor. It's a 5.3. What we have is a 6.0 for it, so an LQ4. And I don't know if you guys have ever done LS stuff or seen them, then you might get an idea of what these manifolds are doing facing this direction. That's right, we're doing 2 whirly boys right up on top here. So, and it's kind of cool by switching it that way. It's beautiful thing about the LS is they fit in everything, they make everything for them. Oh, speaking of that, so yeah, anyway, we'll do the wheel. So doing 2 whirly boys on it, doing a badass stage 2 sloppy cam and stuff on it. So the turbos will, as you can see, there's a ton of real estate in here. So we can either put the turbos and be all sneaky and keep them underneath of the hood. Or we can come up actually pretty high and still keep them in the hood, or have them, you know, pop up through or something. I mean, there's all kinds of options with this depending on the kind of look and stuff of it. But I want this to be extreme. I want this to be cool. I want this to stretch me as a builder and stuff, and to kind of showcase what we can do and have something fun to take shows that represents Midnight Run Creations and the distillery and cidery and stuff as well too. And I want to race it too. So we've got some kick-ass Camaro 2010 Camaro bucket seats that we're going to put into it. My dad's got a tubing bender, so we can get a cool cage done up for it and stuff. So it's going to be rad. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have big old fender flares in the back too, or fenders. I've got another bed with bigger fenders and stuff on it. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. Gonna clean it up maybe a little bit, do some probably, you know, leave the patina and stuff on it because it's earned it. Maybe do some cleanup because some of that's a little bit rough because the guy started to kind of grind it down to do some body work. But yeah, she's gonna be kick-ass. So it's fun. We're using all kinds of stuff. You can see down in here, those are Kyle from Outcast Auto Works. That's his LS swap motor mounts. So that is, of course, obviously the Crown Vic rack for front steering because it's a Crown Vic chassis. But he has these just absolutely beautiful LS swap mounts, so you can put an LS onto your Crown Vic, whether you've got one of the F100s that you're putting it on, or F250, you know, a DAW, whatever you want to put. We're actually going to try it. My buddy that's been helping me wants to put his 50s Ford Fairlane, I think it is, on a Crown Vic chassis. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, so we're using everybody's stuff, supporting the other guys from the different pages. I'm part of the F100 builds and the Crown Vic swaps and all that kind of stuff. So check out Kyle Howard at Outcast Auto Works. I'll see if I can put a website link into the description and stuff. He's awesome, local guy, just really cool and stuff on it. We're going to use Marty for the tuning and stuff like we do on a lot of these. And we'll do the Dominator X, Terminator, there we go, Terminator Max X, because that's going to run the transmission. So it's going to be kick-ass. We just finally started ordering parts for this because we got the Nova sold. So now we can get to making a sick-ass shop truck to represent big old logo on the side and stuff. We got to figure out a logo. So if anybody does that, reach out to me and let me know. But yeah, so that's what we got going on. So let's check in and see if Bob has anything to say. Anything to say, Bob? No? All right. Tell him later, Bob. May the force be with you. Goodbye, boys and girls.